I should quote that. It's like I wrote down everything you said and I did it. And I'm not like that, it's
And if I
those
didn't
were
have
good
that
jobs.
messy list, I would have struggled with,
Yeah.
okay, what am I supposed to do? How am I supposed to? And so thank you for that.
Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely. Yeah. Well, if you guys want, let's take a look. I actually pulled your document into a Google Drive, and if we make any changes during the call, I'll just send it back to you with the
Oh,
edits.
okay.
So you
Good.
have it. Okay, here. Here. So I pulled it in here. So let's just sort of recap what I had said, right? I want you to have a long bio, a short bio, an elevator pitch, and then you're going to find some magazines or media outlets in your area that you think are interesting to you, and you're going to draft an email to them. Actually, the emails are excellent.
I
You
did
know,
it all in
yeah,
ChatGPT. I mean,
but
just like you said.
you told them you told Chat, I want to send an email to this publication. I mean, you have to
I-
give it a bit, and it's really nice because it customized the content of the email to the
Yes.
publication.
And so it took me, the first time it took me about, I typed in the question and then I enhanced it 2 more times. And then
Mm-hmm.
after that, I didn't, then for the next editor, I changed it. All I did was add a little enhancement for the
Mm-hmm.
next person and then a little
Yep.
enhancement for the next person. And I didn't change anything else.
And sometimes what you can say to Chat too, and I'm sure Maria has tips too, but it's like if I said sometimes I say write a similar email to this, but change out
Mhm.
X and Y, and because they're not going to they don't know what you send to other people. And it's the same. I mean, the intro is the same. You just reference their magazine differently so they know that you're familiar with them. So, no, I think those were excellent, and we can read through them. If you are open to it, I can share this document um, with everybody too, so they have an example of how to do it
Mhm.
well. I'm like, I really think it's so how much time did you spend on this, just out of curiosity?
Oh gosh, just because I didn't do this until 4 o'clock this morning and I was done by 6 easily.
4 o'clock this morning?
Didn't
Wait.
sleep. I was worried about getting this done.
Awesome.
And
She's afraid of you. I am too, kind of. So,
I'm in awe of you. So
no, not afraid. But
so
it is
yeah,
I'm very scary. I'm big,
it
and
is helpful to
strong,
have a
yeah.
deadline, right?
but there
Yeah.
is, I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've looked at a blank piece of paper thinking, where do I start? And that's what ChatGPT takes away.
He's scared of me too.
I'm
He
scared.
heard that. He was
I'm-
laughing.
I'm scared of her.
He was
He
sitting over
should
there
be.
at the kitchen table laughing out loud. But what I will say is that deadlines work, like specific tasks with specific deadlines. And I know this because that's how I operate, and Maria and Jason can attest to this. If you just tell me to at some point do something, maybe it's like, yeah, I'll get to it when I get to it. But if I'm like, okay, no, I have to get this and this done by then it's actually going to happen. So yes, but 2 hours basically, you know.
And that included I mean, everything.
Yeah.
Finding the magazines, reading the magazines for fun,
Yeah.
get subtract. So
I actually went and looked up the magazine, and interestingly, um, and this just to tell you that it really is, it's work. You have to, you can't automate this completely. Like I went into my media database and 2 out of the 3 magazines that you picked are not in my database,
Mm.
which is probably the best media database in that exists. But
So is that a problem for the magazines?
no, it's a problem for PR people, because what PR people do is like it's like I would go in and say, give me all the media outlets in the Kansas City area that cover home and design. And he wouldn't be able to find this, because it's not listed. So it really is a matter of living there and knowing and doing the local research. It's like you can't just outsource this to an agency in New York and have them do it because they don't know the market like you do, and they would not be able to find it as easily. It was
Right.
fairly, I mean, I would say, that's 2 hours really well spent because you got a
Oh,
lot done,
absolutely.
a lot done.
I would
Yeah.
have stressed all day long before ChatGPT on
Oh my
this.
gosh, yeah,
So,
for sure.
mm,
So
yeah,
let's, and I'll probably take a little time later today and maybe I'll go through your bio, which I would like to tweak that a little bit just to make it more easily readable.
that would be great.
And the challenge with you is that you have so many companies, it's
I know. And I left one out.
you did. And I'm like, wow, how can we streamline that? And actually, um, and I'll edit that a bit for you, but I
Okay,
like when you
that would
say,
be great.
like in your emails, you say, I'm the co-owner and director of marketing. And I like that structure much better than what's in the bio. It's more, it's like, oh, you're you are, and you right away say I'm the co-owner, and you establish that authority,
Yeah,
and then you're also the marketing director. I think overall it's really good. I just like to tighten it up a little, and I was
that would be
wondering
great.
your company structure. It's like because your email is custom wood products is, but that's not like the umbrella company. They're all individual.
Well, it is really because it was here first.
Okay.
So
Because
it
what
all
I
makes
kind of
sense
was,
in my brain, but
Mhm.
it is not very clear to other people. So I've been working on ways to tier that and explain how that works. So
Mm,
basically, it's custom wood products. That's who we've been forever. And
yeah.
then we started Pulido making, and we had to make it a separate company because it's a completely different construction material, everything for closets. It's a completely
Mhm.
different animal than
Yes,
what we
no,
do
of
at Custom
course,
Wood
yeah.
Products. So then we did that, and then we purchased Profile, and Profile is similar to Custom Wood Products, but
Mhm.
they've been really deprived, um, public, private equity owned, and so we haven't
Yeah.
specifically brought out a profile product because right now Kevin is building their shop in technology and
Oh,
equipment. And so eventually profile will become a cabinet line of custom wood products.
and honestly, that's like ideally from a communications perspective, it'd be great if you could say, I'm the director of marketing and I'm the director of marketing and co-owner of Custom Wood Products, period. And then you say part of Custom Wood Products are, and then you list all the companies.
Oh, that makes sense. Okay,
No, that would be much more
right.
easily
So
digestible. Yeah.
Yes, that would be, because I kind of put the three manufacturers together and then kind of put KBH separate, because KBH is the showrooms
Yes.
that
And
now
I like that
sell
that
CWP Profile and Toledo.
separate, and I love how it's positioned in the email pitches that it really gives you a local presence, and I thought that was done
Yes.
really well. But just for people, because the names are so long, and it's like I'm reading and reading, I'm like, wait, where's the next sentence?
Yeah, that's
So
true. No, cleaning it up would be awesome.
yeah, I'll spend a little time on that.
Okay.
But I think overall it was really good, and um, like Maria had taught you guys in the training, I think a lot of I feel like you had really good prompts, because the output was really quite good. And that's really what it takes. And honestly, and I learned this from Maria too, it's like I just talk to chat like I would talk to a person. I
Mhm.
should say, oh, that's not really that great. Could you? Sometimes I joke with it,
Mhm.
and
Yeah, no,
it
I think
acknowledges that.
when you say that, I think that might have been because I did the bio and the elevator speech and the emails in the same chat. And so
Yes.
it brought in
Yeah.
all of that same information.
And I think, Maria, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the memory transfers now from one thread to another. So it wouldn't
Oh, it
even,
does.
yeah,
Yeah,
it would remember, right?
yeah, it's like the newer versions that come out have more of the ability to create continuity across. So as it comes out and gets a little bit better, you don't have to go back in and be like, "Hi, this is my name. This is what I'm working on." So it's been getting so much better.
Nice.
Yeah. And I actually think there was, it just put it in twice. But I will clean it up. But this is good. And I love how you added a little personal touch at the end. I think if you have the space in a biography, that's really valuable to do. So people, it's like you're a human and you have other interests outside of your job. I think that's really nice. And
Okay.
I'm
Well,
like,
I was wondering,
what is
I was,
biofield tuning? I'm like, I have to
what's
go.
that?
I was wondering, I'm like, what is biofield tuning? That's really
Yeah,
interesting.
no, so I wondered about that and I almost took it off and I was going to
I
tell you, you
like
could
it.
take that off if it's because it didn't, because I questioned whether it was relevant. But I
I
get
would, yeah, I think I would like it on like the website, where you have some more, and it is your company, you're one of the owners, and I think people would be interested to know that.
Mhm.
So
So
yeah.
Caroline, I'm doing the a summary of the ASID trends report from 2025 today as our recording for our podcast. And there's so much in the trends and forecast that talks about the holistic house and
Mhm.
how it's like it's now the goal for like the gen, the next generation, they like to travel and they like to bring kind of like luxury experiences into the home, like the circadian rhythm lighting and things to kind of change their sensory experience. And so, personally, I think you should leave this in, but it
Mm.
needs to be more like sexy, like something that, like, if I met you at a dinner party, you could be like, I have, and obviously Miriam is our wordsmith, but you could just say something along the lines of like you craft a house that heals you from the inside or
Right.
something like that. And something as simple as that. And then you can say through, and then you could say the big word, right? And then that way, you're painting a picture of something they want to know more about, right?
Right.
And
Right.
and that is, to me personally, I mean, I think if you were to meet someone, Miriam, and you said that, I think wouldn't that spur
Mhm.
on more of that conversation?
Yeah. And I mean, this is easy to do, like with an interest like this, and I'll take a look at it, and we can all tie it back to the business too, because anything that deeply interests you personally also transpires
Okay.
into how you go about it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely. And then
That's a
another
good
thing
point.
too, when you're talking about yourself and you're curious as to what, might be the high points, you can ask it to review your website and tell me a little bit about you. Say, after you looked at my website, look at this website and give me a summary. Look at this website and tell
really?
me what you learned from it. And those things typically can give you a little bit of like summarized insights also to use if you're at a loss for how to simplify something that's complex.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Nice.
when you're talking about yourself, it's like so hard. It's
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
It's interesting. I was just talking. Who was it? Was it Kim? I think I was talking with Kim Morgan, and or were you there when we talked about the bios? Who was I talking with? And we're talking about whether or not to do it in first person or third person.
I might
Was
have
it
been
Kim?
there, or I might have heard about it. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's interesting. And one of the points is like if you have people write their own bios in first person, everybody's so self-conscious, and you don't want to like say good things about yourself because that feels like showing off. It's much easier to write about somebody else in the third person. And so and you can do this with chat. It just doesn't really matter, but if you have chat do it, that's obviously even easier. But it's just the perspective that you have is like if you write a bio of somebody else, you're going to talk them up a lot more probably than you would talk up yourself, unless you're a narcissist, that might be different. But generally speaking, that's the
Mhm.
truth. And I think it's really important not to hold back. Like it's like when you give a talk, it's like you have to speak louder than you normally would, because otherwise people are not really going to hear you. And you still want it to be authentic, but it's okay to present the best sides of yourself. And it's easier in third person, then it doesn't feel like, you know, you're showing off too much. But yes, I think this is really good. Well, I'll go through this a little. The short version is probably still a little long, but you can always trim it back. And honestly, that's where chat is really good. Like if you ever needed a bio that's only, I don't know, 50 words, you just go into chat and say, can you condense this to this number of words and give me 2 or 3 options, Sometimes I say that, and
Okay.
usually it works pretty well. Because I know it's actually the hardest thing is to be short and concise. It's much easier to keep going on and on and on and on, than to really pack everything into just a few words. But yeah, definitely AI has made that a lot easier. That's all great. How do you feel about your elevator pitch? Do you want to give it to us? And you can just read it from the screen, but it's different. Sometimes it's different when it's written and when you actually say it. It's like you have to say it out loud and to see if it really resonates with you when you say
Yeah.
it.
So I think I need to condense it
You-
greatly. Yeah.
Why did
Because I don't
Yeah.
talk that much. And that's a lot of words for me to say to a stranger in an elevator. So I would probably say custom wood products, but then
Yeah.
I might say maybe something to the effect of, and other manufacturing facilities or something like that, and other varieties of cabinet manufacturings.
Yeah.
And then I would also get rid of, um, and still jumps in occasionally for special projects and leave all of the details off.
Yes.
So, not
Which I'm like, we're gonna try to rephrase that because
yeah.
it makes it sound like, okay, you jump in when they need help, but the way we want to position it is like if there's a really high profile, challenging project, they bring you in because you're the best and you
Oh,
have
well, that sounds amazing.
knowledge,
Yeah.
the best.
Or
Yes.
and even
Yeah.
the showroom idea that the St. Jude Dream Home, like
Mhm.
you should just say like feature, products featured in, or what would you say, Miriam, about that? Like I feel like you
I would
can throw that out there.
like I would talk about like VIP projects, or
High
or
profile.
or charitable, it's like
Charitable.
we want to, I love the charity angle, so but we can probably tweak that. And I mean, we can say St. Jude or just keep it like whatever pro bono work, giving back to the community. Uh, I'll think of something. But I think that's a good element to have in your.
Yeah, because I think if you had a friend introduce you, to somebody, I think they
Mhm.
would be like, oh my gosh, this is my friend Caroline. Her and her husband have this really amazing full service cabinet concept where she does everything from garages and closets to glamorous kitchens and, whatever types of projects, right? So like either that or you start off with the glamorous side all the way down to garages, because I feel like that would just kind of give you whatever that information is. Just say you've probably seen her work in the St. Jude Dream Home. And she is she's a marketing whiz and she has this amazing brand for her business, right? So that's how like your friend would pitch
Mhm.
you in a bar or at a restaurant to a stranger, right? And so when you pitch yourself, you can kind of just to see how you would use those types of words in a combination to tell a story. Like it's not that you have these multiple manufacturing solutions for multiple types of, you want to say, what do they see? What is the result that they can get from you? And the result from you is like a glamorous kitchen all the way down to your garages and closets, and that you're all
I would
about
talk about organizational because people love
love
organization.
organization. I swear it is
Yes.
like the number one
Yeah.
thing whenever I talk to anybody in the kitchen and bath design. They're like, the number one thing people love to hear from me is like, what do my clients like the best about what I do? And they're like, and almost all of them are like, oh, I love how you did this one little detail to organize me and make like, and then you can bring all of this back to how you have like a very comprehensive solution to like a better home lifestyle. And then all of that kind of gives you the street cred to say what you're doing is you're taking someone from like a maybe messy or disorganized or unsatisfied with their space to just really feeling like they're on top of things and that and that you have like improved their life. And that's what you do. You improve people's lives. Um, and you can just even mention how you do that even from like the experience, the inspiration, you can dive into like touchy-feely words too. So don't think that a simple story is less impactful. I think sometimes a really simplified version of something comes across really very compelling, very like I'm totally interested. Tell me more. Like, what do you do? Like, what do you do to like bring a wellness concept into someone's life, right? That would be the next question someone would want to ask you. And like, you could even just drop like a little hint or something, like a nod to it in some way where people might want to ask you a question afterwards because you've already seeded it. Yeah, so just like
Yes.
full
No.
interaction convo.
I
Yeah.
like it. Yeah.
All of that, but it is, yeah, I totally agree. And with you being the owner, it's like your personal interests are really relevant for the whole company. So I think that's yeah,
Yeah.
it's really good advice. So we'll fine tune all of this because this is going to be a really good resource for you to have that you can use for a long time in many different ways. And it'll be nice to have and to sort of jump ahead. I have more homework for you specifically since you're already this far apart. It's like, we'll look through the emails, but I'd love for you to send out these emails. I probably wouldn't send them out Friday. Or Monday is not ideal. I sent them out like Tuesday morning. Send
Okay.
out all of these emails, and I would bet that you'd have a response or responses by the time we talk next Friday. And if not, there's, nothing's lost. But I think this is a great way to make that first contact. And these we can actually pull these up quick just to see. Because these are exactly the perfect outlets to pitch for projects, right? And I looked at some of the articles too, and you did a good job pulling the contact people because there's really only one per magazine. And then if you look at the articles, it's other people who wrote the articles, which probably means that the editor decides that this is a story that they want, and then they assign the writing of the story to a freelancer that works with them.
Right. And only one of them had a managing editor.
Yeah.
Other two had editor-in-chief, and the other one was publisher and editor-in-chief.
Yes.
So, I mean, I'm sure it's a
That-
smaller magazine.
I actually went and looked, and I'm like, ugh. But it's the only person there is, and that does happen sometimes. And hopefully, depending on how they run their business, they're not going to be hounding you with sales offers. But honestly, what if they come back and say, because who was it? It was the second one. Yeah, here.
Mhm.
And the writer, it's like the writer's not just gonna, sometimes writers will pitch that, like in theory, we could pitch the writer and say, it's like, oh, I have this project, I think it's a perfect fit for this publication. Like, would you be interested in pitching it? But then what often happens is they say, well, you just go talk to the editor, and if they like it, then they'll have me write the story.
Oh,
So
right.
I think you have exactly the right people, and that's the only people there are. But some of them have several freelancers who contribute content to the website. So, but you're better off going to them. It's small enough. I bet you they get very few emails from people that are actually from actual companies that want to work with them. And they're going to be very positively surprised. Because
Okay.
it's like, oh my God, yeah, I'm always looking for comments on this or that. It's like, and then if we can follow up, not all the time, but like we'll follow up and 2, 3 months, whenever, or maybe you can establish a more frequent that's great too. If they ask you for input, for commentary, background, whatever it is. The thing to know too is that when a journalist reaches out to you and asks for information, it doesn't always mean that they're going to use everything that you say in the article. I've done a lot of interviews with experts and media, and the expert didn't even get mentioned. But that's part of building the trust and the relationship, and you providing value and them really appreciating what you bring to the table. And they will really make an effort to reciprocate, and include you in pieces where you actually can be quoted or where your project can be featured. So but it's not a transactional relationship, really. It's more synergistic, I would say. It's not like I give you this and you give me that. Then you have to buy an ad.
Right.
But yes, so this is great. And I'm like, let's just see. Chat writes great pitch emails. It especially if you give it good direction. So this is the editor-in-chief, and I love how you started. And I like this. I'd like to introduce myself and connect with you. I'm the co-owner and director of marketing. And I'll see if we can maybe compact this a little bit when I work on the bio. But you're the director of marketing, co-owner, Custom Wood Products, and as well as a longtime kitchen and bath designer. I like that. So you've already established your authority and your position from the get-go. So that's great. We've been manufacturing custom cabinetry for over 40 years. Yes. And our kitchen and bath showroom in Mission, Kansas gives us a strong presence in the Kansas City design community. I love that. And you know what? Probably, maybe the editor's going to know of or have been to your showroom. Who knows?
Right. Hopefully.
Yeah. I mean, I would think
Not,
that,
they might take a ride.
yes.
Yeah.
You know what? Or if they write back and say, oh, wasn't aware, and you can invite them for a
Mhm.
showroom tour or something. That's always a good idea. With my background.
I was just gonna say, I have a girlfriend who she sends basically these ideas to her local cable network, and at lunchtime they show up wherever she is to talk about whatever is happening. So this doesn't just work in print.
Potentially. Oh, that's step
I
7.
know, but I'm just saying, you've already done the work. It's already here. It's already done. Okay. I wouldn't have brought it up if you hadn't already done it.
It's a good point. It can.
But that's
Just like
true. Nobody's
type
really
of-
untouchable. I mean, I just think fear is behind most of it.
Yes,
And
it's very
and if we
true.
just, yeah, and if we just, it's just another person and it's just another conversation.
And so the reason why I really believe in this is because if everybody feels the way you do, but if nobody else is doing it,
Mhm.
So if you are the one who has the courage to put yourself out there, it's like you're going to be way ahead of everybody else. And it's not that if we dissect it step by step, it's not that hard. We can do this. Yeah, we can totally do this. So I think this is great, Mike. That it's great. It's perfect. We'll
Thank
tweak it a little bit, send.
Okay.
All right. So and this magazine, it really is more of and they have awards, which is interesting too.
So the way I understand it is this, we haven't been, but this awards thing is like the biggest event in Kansas City. It's
Is it?
huge. So we were going to go, but then we were out of town, so we weren't able to make it this year. So definitely have to make time for that next year. Because I hear it's a pretty amazing event.
So, okay. Have you thought about submitting projects or what? Okay, let's see what they have. Custom
And they've
interior
got
kitchen
bath
and
and
okay, let's look.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think I would put that on your vision board, on your
Mhm.
business vision board, especially if it's such a big deal, you know. It's awards is something that I sort of put under the like the bonus PR opportunities, but I mean, awards are important because people pay attention. And especially if it's something legit, you know, and um, I don't necessarily believe in plastering it all over your website or, but it's just, it does really augment your reputation in the industry. So, and then you would get to go to that if then you win and then you get to go to the event.
Mhm.
There, done. Yeah, but so I think it's a great publication. This one actually was the other one I couldn't find because they're so niche that, oh, how did I do that? Why did it not want to do that? Oh, because I didn't. Let's just do, and you were already in the,
Yeah, that's the one we were already in.
yeah.
So that's that Cabinet Trends. That's us right
Mhm.
there.
Yes. And I mean, this obviously is a good one too. And there may even be other. Because I mean, whilst you specialize in
See,
yeah, we
we
have
hired just a few months ago, we hired a lady in Kansas City. She's a designer, but she doesn't design a lot anymore. And we hired her as a brand ambassador, and
oh really?
she's been hounding the magazines and
Oh good.
events and things like that. So she hasn't been afraid to get out there. And I think so she's why they wrote that article. So
Ah, interesting. So what specifically, what did you hire her for?
I mean, for brand awareness in Kansas City for
Okay.
for for CWP and profile brand awareness.
Mm,
Just she's been around and she just knows a lot of people, and
yeah.
she talks nonstop. And so she's just out there talking nonstop.
I take it that's not something you would want to do. Or because I will say, and there's absolutely a place for spokespeople and brand ambassadors that are um, not necessarily part of the company. I mean, I've done this for a lot of the brands that I've worked with, but I will say that for it, the if you as the owner or your husband were to do it yourselves, um, the the impact would be even bigger because people love just talking with the actual with the and especially if you're the owner, you know, it's like you're sort of on a pedestal already. But if you it's like you can say, well, I'm the what would you do? I'm the CMO of Custom Wood Products and the co-owner. You know, it's like people love the authority um of like the executives of a company.
Hmm.
And I think that's true for all industries, actually. But I'd be curious if to see how you're using her and how that works out for you. I mean, you could potentially, I've used a lot of spokespeople for interviews, and other media opportunities, or public speaking type, panel discussions or whatever it may be. But yeah, you have all kinds of irons in the fire, so that's great. But I just want to look quick at how the emails are differentiated between the audiences, because I'm like, it's subtle, but it works. And it doesn't, I think this is all it takes. You don't have to go spend a whole day reading the magazine and dissecting every article, but really it's all it takes. So here, it's very generic. And you throw in the name of the magazine, make sure you use the right name. What sometimes happens is that if you duplicate an email, you have to make sure that you have the right name of the person that you're addressing, and that you use the right name of the magazine. And I don't know, I get a lot of emails where people are pitching me all kinds of different services. Unless I got one, and the first email said, "Hello, Miriam," and then the second one, the follow-up email said, "Hi, Matt." And I don't even know how that's possible, because it was probably automated. But I'm like, okay, delete. But so here's design KC, and then basically the intro is the same, and you're addressing the same types of publications, so that's perfectly fine. And it's really nice how you did it, in that you're not asking for anything. You're here to connect and offer help. That's the purpose of this email. So I think it works really well. Yeah, and you covered it all, future articles, trends on or homeowner trends, which that actually is really attractive to them. And you're happy and upbeat and friendly, and they can say, "Oh my God, where has this person been all my life?"
Let's hope.
No, really, really. I'm very confident. And I like in the Kansas City style one too. Yeah, I've enjoyed Kansas City Magazine style
Yeah,
section and the beautiful homes you feature. Yeah.
Right. And so, those are the little tidbits that I just typed in. This,
Yes.
magazine has a high focus on whole house
And
projects.
yes. And I
And
think that's time well spent, because that really, so you reference the style section, and they're like, "Oh no, she really reads the magazine," and that's good. There's a little bit of flattery, but in a genuine way. So I think that's a really nice add-in. So you added that.
I added it to my chat ask. I
Yeah.
didn't type it in there.
Oh,
And
okay. Okay.
they wrote it, and I didn't edit it.
Okay. Oh, but you had to give it that specific input.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
But I didn't say it as nicely as they did. It was just a point to be made, but they
Yes.
did
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
But that's what chat is there for. I do that a lot. It's like when it's like 5 or 6 o'clock and my brain is tired and I don't want to have to think about how I'm gonna say it. I just tell chat to say it for me. And I'd say 75% of the time it's really on point. So I think these are great. Yeah. And just plug I'll I'll work on this and I'll have it to you by Monday.
Okay.
So
Thank you.
you can send out the emails Tuesday morning.
Okay.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good deal. And when I have edited it, I'll email it I might email it to you and copy um, the rest so everybody can take it for inspiration. You could probably even, um, especially the pitch emails, if you wanted something similar, you could say, here's an example, and then give it specific information about your own business and whatever publications you want. I'd probably do it one by one, you know, say write an email to this publication and then the second. Did you do all of them together or did you do them one by one?
I
No.
did them one by one in the
I
same
think that
chat. Mhm.
probably works better. Yeah. But it's also some trial and error. But I mean, I think the results are excellent. So yeah, good job.
Thank you.
Yeah. I love when people send me homework. I'm saying that for motivation. Good. Well, um, so we have a game plan. Then thoughts, Morgan, Sharon. Thoughts, questions.
No questions.
Yeah, you answered some, like I thought, okay, you don't want to send this on a Friday or Monday, probably.
No, generally that's just not a great idea. Yeah. And I would send it in the morning. And it's funny, like journalists they're not all the same. Some of them have different preferences, but I think it's fair to say that, it's like in the morning when you look through stuff and you see what's coming and what you're going to focus on, that's probably when you can capture their attention the most. And I usually, when I send things to media, I do it between Tuesday and Thursday and stay away from Monday or Friday. Good, good. It's it's all it's all we just keep it simple, you know. It's like don't overthink it. Um, keep it simple. Don't obsess over the bio either because you start somewhere and you edit it, and if you don't like it, you can redo the whole thing. And like it doesn't have to be perfect by any stretch of the imagination. Neither do the emails. I really like the length of the emails too, because I mean, journalists are so busy these days. Just over the last 2 to 3 months, there have been so many layoffs in the media world on the editorial side. It's like everybody's buzzing about that behind the scenes, but they're all so busy, and a lot of them they get hundreds of emails every day that are pitching them something, or most of them probably want something from them, or they're completely irrelevant, because people just they blanket email pitches. So if you can send them something that really shows that you put in the effort to figure out who they are, what they write about, and what they could help with, they will be happy to get your email. I can guarantee you that. Okay? Yay.
Thank you. Yes.
Yeah. Okay, perfect. I will edit that, get it back to you. If either one of you, Sharon or Morgan, if you get to it and you want me to look at something, you can you can email it to me, or you can just have it when we're on the call and ask me questions then. Either way, but I'm like, this is all the homework is here. this is all it is, so it's not a day-long project. It's like you just, and there may only be 2 publications that you want to reach out to. It's fine. Even if it's one, I'd say the goal is to send out these emails. That's the big action goal for this month. We're gonna have to come up with some kind of reward system. I honestly, I can promise you.
I feel rewarded already. I appreciate the feedback, so I'm good.
It's funny, and I see this happen a lot. It's like when you actually get the reaction from the media, even if it's just an email, and at some point when you actually get something published that you pitched proactively, it's like Christmas, it's really nice. Right, Maria? She's had a lot of Christmases, in
And then there's
with-
also, just keep in mind that you may not get the responses that you want at
Yes.
the beginning. And that doesn't mean that it's just not now. It's not no, it's not now. And then with time and experience, it just ramps up. So you don't have to worry about going into it and you being like their new most absolute favorite person they contact all the time. You ramp up to become that person. So you may just be a try it before you buy it person at first. Then they see what value, and then they just realize you're really good and easy to work with. And then you become increasingly more high demand for them. So just keeping that.
And so that's actually a really good point. Like one of the main complaints that editors have is when people don't respond in a timely manner. And we'll do a lot of work on this when we put together an actual pitch, but it's like when you pitch something to a journalist, it's like you want to make sure that you actually have everything that you're going to need to support that pitch. Not that they get back to you and say, oh, no, this sounds great. Well, send me all the pictures and the product list and the this and the this and the that, and you don't have it ready, and then you have to scramble. It's like, and it's not rocket science. It just takes some preparation so you know that you are ready when they need something. And like if they reach out to you and ask for input on whatever, for an article, you have the opportunity to be mentioned in the article. Do it as soon as you can. Like it needs to go on top of your priority list. It's like I had this experience even in my corporate life, where I'd get a request from like a high profile media outlet and I tried to get maybe the product manager or somebody to do an interview and says, well, I have time next week, Friday. And I'm like, well, that's not going to work, because these people are on deadline, they work quickly. So the more quickly you can respond to them, the more they're going to like you. And I think you'll be so excited to hear from them that you're going to want to respond. Sorry, my cats are going crazy right behind me. Oh my gosh, they must have gotten some catnip. But so that's really important. Yeah. And that's part of, Maria, what you did, because it's, you delivered what they needed, and then people start reading about you and they're like, oh, this person obviously is motivated, to work with the press. And those are the types of people they want. They don't want to have to follow up with you 3 times and say they're not going to, then they're just going to go to the next person.
And especially because a lot of times the secondary and tertiary requests for content, they're usually like, hey, can I get this by EOB, end of business? And it's usually like a 24 to 48 hour turnaround, but they're usually asking about something you already know about. So if they do respond to you, just respond back. And then if they have more questions or need more,
Yes.
then they will respond back to you. And then they'll take it. And you may think you have to have it perfect and everything in it the first time. Like I usually take the entirety of the questions and respond in the original email to each one of the questions if they're asking for a lot. But what will happen is if you missed something or they missed something, they get right back to you really fast. And as long as you can kind of keep that response rate relatively punctual for them, then next time they have something come up, they'll just reach out to you again. But it's definitely, you don't want them to reach out to you and not respond.
Yes. Yeah, that would that's not gonna happen. So
No,
we're
not with us,
worried about
right?
it.
But yeah, EOB, you'll get a lot of emails and they'll be like, EOB. And you're like, oh.
Yeah, and that happens too sometimes. Maybe they're already working on the article and then they
Yeah.
realize, well, there's something missing and I need this because
Yeah.
I have to hand it in tomorrow, you
But
know.
those are the big national, that's the big dogs that do that.
Yeah, the regional ones,
No.
and it depends. They're not, the deadlines are not as strict, I would say. And if you work with the editor is the one is like the overall approver, right? But if we end up placing a project of yours, then they're probably going to hand you off to one of their writers, and then we'll be working with that person directly.
And those are usually longer windows of time.
Yes, for
The
sure.
stuff I'm talking about is usually just a quick question to have like a quote in an article, kind of like quoted or the SOS request.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about with the prompt
Mm.
request.
But this is more just, this will be more, the cadence will be slower for sure. So not to worry about it. Not, it'll all be fine, I promise. Okay?
All right, thanks.
Okay, great deal. Well, thank you so much. If you do any work on it and you have questions as you go about it, just ping me, okay? And otherwise, we'll see you next week.
Thank you.
Okay,
Bye.
thanks. Bye.